like the readings that for today got a little bit pushed back. And so it kind of extended the time. I usually try to give myself like a 2-hour window in between, but it was a lot of work that was done today. So basically I'm late, I'm sorry. However, for those who are waiting from emailed readings from me, those are coming, they're uploading. I'm waiting for YouTube to do a thing. But it's been a very busy day, like really, really busy. But I hope that everybody's ready, okay? And I'm sorry I didn't get to post it in the community tab because literally had no time. Literally had no time. And it's been just like a really, really just fast-paced like work day for me. I mean, the moon is in Capricorn. So it's just, for me, it always ends up being like a really, really busy time. So yeah, I'm sorry that we're a little late and that I didn't get to post it in the community tab. Regardless, we're going to get started because we have a lot to talk about. I feel like the energy has definitely been interesting is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to pull up the chat now so we can all... And then the other thing is that my phone was literally dying, so I had to, wait, what in the world? Hold on. I'm gonna have to change this thing. So I had to literally, okay, there it is. So I had to literally charge it for a minute while I literally took a shower, like the fastest shower, came out, and then just started pretty much prepping for the live. So yeah, I'm so sorry that it's a little bit late, but we're gonna make the best of it as always. Hello everybody, how are y'all doing? I'm doing good. It's just been really fast paced today in a way. It's the best way that I can describe it. It's just been a little bit like everywhere. So yeah, for the most part I'm doing good. It's just been busy. It's been busy. I've been doing readings nonstop, so it's been a lot of fun. I need to change this thumbnail because it's bothering me. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Okay, copy. There we go. And then I'm just sharing the link with the Patreon so they can come and join us. Whew. But I definitely feel like today it was just really, really busy. It was a busy day in the neighborhood, and it's not even over. I'm waiting for pretty much things to upload so I can start posting them for you guys and sending out the reading links and everything. So it's just been a little crazy. It's definitely been a little bit crazy. Okay. There we go. So the patrons got it. Let's have IG join us today. Hold on, let me put this over here. Ooh. Join us today. Hold on. What? No, I don't need that one. Thank you. Okay. 1 second, y'all. Okay, which... Yeah. In 1 second. There we go. Okay. That works out. Oh. Trying to have... Hold on. And live, and then... And now we're pretty much all good to go. How was you guys this week though? I definitely had a very, very interesting weekend. I had a very interesting I had some very interesting things go down on Instagram specifically, because I got really, really heated over the weekends over like people being very, very, I want to call it dismissive and both ignorant at the same time. so I ended up making a TikTok about it, and we were talking about like social toxic intentions, um, which is something that a lot of people don't even realize that they do, but they do it all of the time. And I was just so frustrated with it because people use toxic social intentions to justify not only their own trauma, their own like issues, and try to kind of speak for a lot of other people, but they basically in the process of doing all that will add toxicity into the world, like consciously toxicity into the world, and it's just really 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 frustrating. So I had to call it out, like, listen. And I was very very clear about straight up communicating, do not be leaving toxic stuff in my comments, especially like on Instagram, because I will call that shit out. Like, no, do not do that in my comments. There's a lot of people that love to take things super personal and love to kind of create different narratives and then speak for everybody else, but then it just, when you say stuff like you can never be full, nobody can ever be fully healed in any lifetime, you always have trauma, you can never be fully healed, like that's not a thing. That's the type of shit that like pisses me off, because do you even know do you even know? And then this is the same people that will call themselves healers and have like spiritual businesses and have a community and be doing readings and stuff. When you limit your human experience, because I need you guys to remember that at the end of the day, when you limit your human experience, when you say like, oh, we can never be this, we can never be that, we're always gonna be broke, we're always, like when you talk shit about the line, about like your bloodline, about your family, about your ancestors, about like the men that you meet, the women that you meet, when you talk shit and you just spread very thinly that negativity and you spew that shit out to society, it's like, why are you trying to include me in your own negative thoughts? Like, I'm part of society. I don't need to be told that I will never be healed for the rest of my life, because obviously you have never done past life healing before. There's absolutely ways that you can completely heal every trauma in each lifetime that you are in if you do the work. There are people that have already like healed there's literally people out there who's healed all of their trauma, and they are done with coming back into life's soul circle. They're just done. They're like, this is gonna be my last lifetime, and I'm not coming back because I'm good. I healed everything. And that's a thing. Like, the fact that there's people out there who will sit here and try to like sell you an experience, try to sell you a kind of like a perspective, or try to be like, oh yeah, I'm a healer and I do this and I've been through all this stuff. A lot of healers have been through a lot of things, but you cannot limit anybody else's healing experience. And I say this as a healer, as someone who is a spiritual teacher, as someone who understands that the spirit, your soul, is very much limitless in so many ways. For you to put your soul in a box and be like, oh no, you cannot heal. You can only heal with certain experience triggering. And that's another reason why I kind of had to stop commenting about it. I left it where I left it, and I was just like, listen, I denounce all of these negative intentions that you're trying to spew to society, because I do not wish that upon anybody. I do not wish other people be never healed or never fully healed. No, I personally, my belief is you can do whatever the fuck that you want to do. If you want to spend your time healing yourself to the fullest capacity, that's what's going to happen, because that is your intention. Intention matters, you know what I mean? And so to me, I will never limit anybody else's experience. I will never be the person that's sitting here and being like, oh man, I'm the same, or oh this and that, and like to an extent there's a purpose to stereotypes, but there's also a lot of harm that comes from the negativity associated with those things, you know what I mean? And so I don't have the time to be out here arguing with people, and people who call themselves healers, and people who call themselves a lot of things, who want to limit people's experience just because their traumas were really really hard to heal. And really frustrating for them to heal, to the point where they think that just because the experience is so hurtful and it just takes so much out of them, that it is impossible and that the human beings are incapable of healing themselves completely. Like, it's not a thing. I don't ever want you guys to be limited in your mind in that way. And I hope that you guys don't think that way. And if you do, then that's your opinion. But at the end of the day, those type of beliefs will completely, hey Nat, those type of beliefs will completely like take away from your growth, because in the back of your mind there's going to be a voice that says, oh, I'm never going to fully get over this. It's kind of like being an alcoholic, and like, you know, being, I hate it when people, I don't know if you guys ever felt this way, but I really hate it when when you see people recovering from, you know, drinking and kind of abusing their bodies in that way, and for the rest of their lives they will always be known as alcoholics, and it's almost like they're made to wear that title, that name, in like as a branded kind of like scarlet letter on their skin. There always has to be like, oh, I'm a recovering alcoholic, or I'm this and that. I'm like, bro, you have the full capacity to literally not ever do this again. The second you have all these titles and be like, oh, I'm 15 years free of this and free of that, you're giving so much power to that word, to that experience, to the pain associated with it, to how much you had to get over. I'm not the type of person that likes to continue to give power to the past in that way, because then it still haunts you in the future. And it frustrates me when people kind of do this thing where they just like to wear all their traumas in like as one of these like jean jackets that are full of like patches and stuff. They love to wear all their traumas like on them and walk around and be like, yes, I'm a sufferer of this and I'm a da-da-da of that and da-da-da of that. You do realize that that makes it baggage that you're carrying. You know what I mean? Like, I will never understand why people like to do that. But even if I was ever a person that would be on the label alcoholic, and then I literally got over it and healed myself and I'm fine around alcohol, I'm fine and all that stuff, I would not be sitting here advertising that consciously. I understand that the group helps people. I understand a lot of layers about it, but I disagree with the whole notion that you must be judged by that label for the rest of your damn life. Like, that's what defines you. Like, that is just such a meaningful part of who you are that defines you. Like, I'm just like, you're way more than these kind of traumas that we heal from. You know what I mean? At some point, that evolution, you have to move into your evolution, not carry everything else with you. So it just frustrates me when people do a lot of toxic social intentions and they say stuff like, oh, you're never gonna change, you're never gonna do this, all men are the same, like all that kind of shit. That's a huge misuse of Aquarian energy. And that's one of the things that I spoke about on that TikTok. We were talking about Aquarian energy and how people basically do toxic intentions to society. And to break it down really, really simply, it goes through the chakras as far as the social intentions go, because your chakras are 1000%, especially the crown chakra, is it's ruled by Aquarian energy. Aquarius rules society, it rules our interactions, our technology, our social interactions, what we bring to society, our friends, how we talk to our friends, how we interact with our friends, what kind of people are our friends. So when you have Aquarian energy, you have to understand that, and if you look at it on an astrological way, they're known as the water bearer. Okay? Aquarius is a very powerful sign because it rules that individuality amidst society. Like, who are you when you are in the room with others? Who are you when you are in this society? What do you bring to the table? How do you interact with your friends? What do you bring to your friends group? You know what I mean? Like, who are you? Who are you? That is the question. And what do you bring? It's kind of like a different way of, if you look at the relationship between the first house is literally like, okay, other people see you like this. But then the 11th house is all about how you interact with others, not just how they see you, but what is your presence, how do you connect. And so when you talk about the crown chakra being ruled by Aquarius, it's like, okay, that is my individuality and it connects you to your individuality, but it's all about how your individuality pours into society, and how all of these thoughts here that come from your crown chakra, your mind, whether toxic or positive or light or dark, whatever, how that communicates down and gets poured into the pool, how your cup, okay, the water bearer, how your cup, it gets poured into the larger lake, ocean that is society, okay? And so you have your thoughts coming down, whether positive or negative, your thoughts coming down from your crown chakra to your third eye, which is the chakra of vision. So what you think, how you envision that truth to be, and then down to your throat chakra, which basically dictates what you're saying, whether toxic or positive. And when you spew negative things out of your mouth into society, whether it be to a friend, whether it be to a coworker, whether it be online, because Aquarius rules technology, it creates so much toxicity, and it blocks abundance, it blocks growth, it blocks health, it blocks healing, it blocks so many things, because all of a sudden we just have roadblocks in front of us. We just have we just have things, walls that we have created that prevents us from moving forward. It just stops us from moving forward because we said, no, this is the boundary. We can't cross this. We can't do this. This is not, like, and it just creates so much nonsense. It's just ridiculous. So it really frustrates me because you guys know my Venus is in Aquarius. So I don't like toxic Aquarius energy. It's something that I've fought all of my life. Toxic Aquarius is period. It's or people that I can't get along with. Like I have issues with Aquarian energy being misused because it has such a huge impact on society. And as a lover of Aquarian energy, because that's where my Venus is, like it frustrates me so bad, and it just irritates me. So I just had to call that out this weekend because I was not having it. And for those who are curious, who don't follow me on Instagram, the post that I had posted basically said, wait, I'm trying to remember. Hold on. Let me just go to my Instagram because I definitely forgot what it said. There was like this quote picture thing that I posted, and it basically said, hold on, I'll find it. Hold on. Okay. It basically said, heal before having children, so your children don't have to heal from having you as a parent. And some people took that and understood what it meant, and then other people, especially people who are parents, got super traumatized by that specific quote. And I found it very interesting because, to me, what does that say? To me, heal before having children so your children don't have to heal from you having you as a parent. As someone who does a lot of past life work and who does a lot of, deals with the Akashic records, the soul's journey, going from when you're a kid to, growing up and stuff, I will tell you that there's so much trauma that is built around your childhood. And from the ages of 1 to like 16, 17, and they teach you this in sociology, okay? For those who don't know, I do have a psychology degree. So they teach you this in sociology. Those ages for a child are such a sensitive, like, time for children. And it's not about, the quote was never about you being triggered or from having kids and all that stuff. That's not what it was about. The whole thing was about you healing yourself, so when you have kids, they don't have to deal with your microaggressions that you're still dealing with any type of your parental trauma with your family. They don't have to deal with like your issues with like your mom and how that relates to you now being a mom. And like, it's all about you healing a good amount of yourself, so when you have the kids, you are actually ready to receive their soul into this world and nurture their soul into this world. That doesn't mean that having a kid can't trigger you. That literally, the quote never said that. That doesn't mean that your kids can't teach you lessons. That doesn't mean, because if you look at it, and especially as an astrologer, you have to understand, I am 1000% aware that people trigger, we always are triggering each other. We always are triggering our growth. We always are impacting the way that we react, and it pushes us into making changes. So I am 1000% aware that having a child, it's a huge impact on your growth. It can trigger a lot of trauma. There's a lot of people that have kids that are not I wouldn't say not meant to have kids, but that didn't want to have kids in the first place, and now they're dealing with that kind of dynamic. There's a lot of different traumas associated with having kids. But I was talking about, and the quote was talking about the pre-part, the prerequisite to having kids. Like, do you really want to bring a hot mess into that room? Do you really want to be like, okay, I'm having a kid, but I'm going to keep all my traumas, I'm going to keep all my bad behaviors, I'm not going to heal myself, that kid is just going to have to deal with me doing this? Especially when you think about having a kid, you're being forced to, literally, because it is, you're being forced to think of not just you, but someone else in a way that is deeply connected, not only on your bloodline level, but on a soul level, because you are automatically deeply connected. There is a different bond when it comes to your child. So I'm over here like, why are all, there's literally, I think it was like 2 mothers or something in the comments talking about, oh, you must not understand because the trauma with kids, my kid actually helped me heal from a lot of things. I'm like, I didn't say that your kid didn't. I didn't say that that wouldn't happen. Of course, I expect that to happen. But what the quote was saying is, heal so your kids don't have to deal with healing from you. That means that while they're growing up from that sensitive window of 1 to 16, they're not like, oh, my mom, kind of has these, like, noticing certain things about you, picking up and sponging up things from your behavior, like mirroring and like attracting certain things that you were doing, just because you never healed it in the first place. Like, it didn't have to be that serious, but people literally took that shit up the ass, and I was just like, first of all, what we're not gonna do. Because what really triggered me about the comment was the whole social intention, and like how we can never heal fully in this lifetime. So why expect that? Why should you take it upon yourself to heal before you have children? Like, just let everybody apparently has the same maternal experience or paternal experience when they're having kids. And I can tell you, I know that not to be true, because again, I told you, there's people who love having kids. There's people who want to have kids. There's people who are not sure about it. There's people who didn't want it in the first place, but ended up happening. There's people who can't have kids. Like, biologically, their body can't not allow them to have kids. And there's trauma surrounding all of that. And so for people who to literally show their trigger, to literally show their trigger in the comments and be like, yeah, but like, I had kids and my kid taught me so much. I was like, that's not what the post was about. Like, yes, of course your kid did that. 1000%. I 1000% expect your kids to help you heal, trigger certain things about you, help you, push you in a different direction, think about your life, think about your behaviors, think about your habits. I expect your kids to do all of that. Why? Because I'm an astrologer and I know that people trigger each other. That includes your kids. And by the way, those who have not done this industry to their child should, because that way you actually help yourself, and help your kid and what they need from you, how your relationship will be, where the issues will be, how your communication is, all of that kind of stuff. I always recommend this to parents because I think it's really, really important and a tool that can be used to build and help heal your relationship with your child, but also help your child be their best self. You know what I mean? And so it frustrates me that everybody literally got all of their wires crossed. All of the mothers, for some reason, not all of them, but some of them were definitely traumatized in the comments. Some people definitely understood why the quote was needed to be said. And some people just really got caught up in the feelings. And I was just like, y'all, do you not understand what the quote meant? Like, I understand that if you're a mom already, the quote you might feel offended because it's like, oh, did I heal before I had my child? So maybe I am about. Nobody's calling you a mad mother. I'm talking about to the person who it applies. Heal yourself before you have kids so they don't have to like sponge up your trauma and then it turns into their trauma associated to you. You don't want to have those type of connections with your kids because then they're not necessarily having a good childhood, are they? Y'all, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I feel like some people read stuff and they take it really personally. And again, this goes into like being triggered and getting trigger culture, kind of like where you get triggered and then you're immediately react out of being triggered, like in a defensive way where you think that somebody's attacking you or something like that, when it's not really about that. And it's just a general, like, it's a PSA, like, hey guys, PSA, heal yourselves before you have kids so they don't have to deal with your trauma. Cool, bye. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I didn't heal before I had kids, like taking it personally. It's literally not about that, like, at all. But a lot of people have that issue where they take a lot of things personally and then it leads to, for some reason, especially when somebody comments and stuff like that, you can see all of their trauma in the comments because they'll go into a full explanation like, oh, you don't understand and this is and that and da 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 da, and all of a sudden I know all of your business, I know all of your trauma, I know all of it. I didn't need to know all of that. I did not need you to communicate that to me. I understand the perspective 100%. My Gemini moon is one of my favorite things because I'm always able to see the duality of the two things. And this is why I always said, as much as like Azalea Banks and like Kanye West, like sometimes they're like all over the place, I understand what they're trying to say. I understand what the point of view is. I understand what they're trying to communicate. I get it. That doesn't mean I'm always gonna like agree with what they're saying. I can just say I understand both sides of the equation, even if sometimes the side doesn't make sense or it's not right, especially with Kanye and what he said like about slavery and stuff like that. Like, I understood what he was saying, and I met a lot of spiritual people who were like, yeah, no, I agree with Kanye though. Like, I understood 1000% what he was saying. Doesn't mean I agree with what he said though. Like, I feel like I can kind of go into both parties sometimes and be like, I understand. I get you. Like, I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to communicate. But it's not always like necessary to completely lay out your whole entire or explain yourself to people who don't know you, who don't like who don't want to understand, or who, especially when something is not necessarily when it's not about you. Because it's not like I called out any single person or anything like that. That didn't happen. It was literally just like, hey, PSA. And people will take things really, really personally. And that at the end of the day, being triggered will show you what you need to heal. And that's 100%. That's something that at the end of the day, that person would have to address. Because I would never be able to do it for them. It's just crazy. You said nothing wrong. Hit socks, holler, and they felt some type of way because of what it brought up for them. And 100%, this is what I'm saying. Like, I really do feel like the second someone gets triggered, they have a couple of different choices as how to address it. They can reflect and be like, why did that trigger me? Which is something that I do a lot. They can kind of try to explain themselves and try to kind of make sense their actions and in the past and why they thought it was the right thing, and like they can try to like create a narrative for their behavior, which nobody asked for, but or they can just, you know, like really lash out and be like, oh, this isn't that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact that, you know, there are people out there that should know, like, hey, if you are working, and especially if you're coming into the community, work on your healing. So when you continue to progress in life, you know, your kids, your family, they don't have to pick up your own baggage. into the future. Like, just set yourself up. It's all about setting yourself up for success, which I'm 100% always co-signing, because y'all know I'm a Capricorn. So if I can set myself up for success to have a beautiful future, then you know I'm going to. So that is my whole point, is like, set yourself up for success. Set yourself up, your family line up, and this is why we do all the work that we do. This is why we practice what we do. This is why we do ancestor work. This is why we heal ourselves. This is why we heal our past lives, our traumas. So we are setting our future, our kids up for success. Is really, really important. Definitely agree. I don't pass my anxiety down to my future kiddos. My mama has huge traumas that she doesn't want to heal. And this is when it turns into like you having to take, like, especially when you get to a point where your parents have passed, then guess who has to heal that trauma? You're gonna have, it turns into ancestor work. And this is what I'm saying, like, guys, it's not super complicated to understand, to have that awareness. And I feel like I wish that a lot of this was taught in school. Like, I wish astrology was taught in school. Listen, if witches were running in the world, if witches were running the world, I feel like it would be a little bit of a different world. I've always felt like parents should have the natal chart of the child done within a week of their birth, so they're aware of the needs, what's going on, any health problems, what they need to know, what they need to, like, where they're gonna thrive in, so that way they can just start doing that planning for, like, okay, how do I support them? What house is being, like, majority, like, triggered for them? What do they need to work on? What do they need to heal? Are they, like, artists? Are they crafty? Like, do they need my support in, like, the arts? Should I have them, like, try out for different things? Like, where's their energy at? You know what I mean? And I feel like when you have that roadmap, it helps you, instead of being like, oh, I gotta figure stuff out. I guess I'm doing this week by week, day by day. I'm just trying to get by, or I'm just trying to do this. I feel like if you have the natal chart, and if you do the synastry chart, you know how you're going to relate to each other. You're going to know how to talk to that child. You're going to know how to give them the best environment, and like, have a really good relationship with that child. There's been, like, parents that I've done their, like, synastry chart with their child, actually. Like, I've done that before. And I remember one of the guys that I did the reading for, he's a Cancer, and it's interesting because his son, he's Pisces, very, 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 like, creative energy in his chart. And I was just like, you're definitely gonna have to nurture his creative side. You're going to have to let him explore, you know, that area, because that's where all of his energy is. And he's like, oh, that's funny, because he told me the other day that he wanted to start drawing, and I was like, good, well, go ahead, support that, because you're gonna start needing to, you know, support your child in that way. So it's like there are definitely spiritual ways to go about a lot of the navigation aspect, but it ultimately takes us doing the work in the process. You know what I mean? They tell their whole life stories because they're trying to convince themselves that they are fine and that their situation didn't produce that outcome. I honestly think that I felt that for a really long time, and it's really interesting to me because there's something that I've noticed that people do, especially, I noticed that men do this a lot too. They'll try to convince themselves that something is right for them by saying it out loud, like repeating it and saying, oh, you know what, I did the right thing, or that was the right thing for me, or that was, you know, this person, this is the one I should be with, this is the one, or, you know, like they'll just fall into this narrative of trying to convince themselves that what they believe, what they're doing, what they're, like, saying, how they're reacting, that is justified, that is correct, that there's nothing wrong with it. And it goes back into the idea of perfection, how we see ourselves, how we want to feel, what we want to believe, all of these things. But that's just avoiding shadow work. If I'm just gonna be blunt, that's avoiding shadow work. That's avoiding looking at the truth. That's very, like, illusionary energy. There's very little Piscean energy right there. Like, I don't necessarily like it when I see that kind of thing. I've seen my friends do this before. I've seen, like, a lot of different people. I've seen exes do this before and stuff, and I'm just like, why are you trying to convince yourself, like my Capricorn ass, meanwhile, why are you trying to convince yourself that this is the correct thing or that you're right. Like, what, how does this make sense? Like, I don't, it doesn't comprehend here. So I 100% feel that that people, when people get triggered, some people, it really turns into a, I need to explain myself. I need you to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. When the question should really be like, okay, do you realize what you are doing? Do you realize what you are saying? Do you realize what that signifies, what that means? So I just find it really a little bit interesting. Woof. Fun fact, in the Middle Ages, physicians needed to learn astrology so they can know which body parts needed focus. Y'all. That is so crazy. That is so crazy. And where did that practice go? Because, y'all, where did it go? So let us talk about the astrology of right now, because listen, so there's a ton of stuff. It's a very, very Saturnian, Aquarius, very Aquarius time at this time. Mercury's still in retrograde, so we have the sun in Aquarius, the moon is in Capricorn. Okay, moon doesn't like being in Capricorn. It does not, because Capricorn doesn't really like to deal with emotions too much. Like, Capricorn is not necessarily a super emotional sign. We go through emotions, but we're not a super emotional sign. So when the moon is in Capricorn, it's not necessarily the easiest time to navigate emotions, because it's a very grounded, like, kind of grounded, very, very goal oriented, like focused kind of energy. So for the day, I feel like it's definitely been like a lot of work, but the weekend was definitely really, really chaotic. We have Mercury in Aquarius, which is in retrograde, Venus in Aqua, Mars in Taurus, Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto in Capricorn. Chiron is still in Aries, and we just have, there's definitely a lot of squares in the chart. But there's still a lot going on with Mars and the Sun squaring Mars right now. It's just still a lot of like that, you know, friction, fighting energy. I am out here literally waiting for Mars to kind of move into a different sign a little bit, because when Mars is in Taurus, especially during Aquarius season, because a lot of it is fixed sign energy, everything can get a little bit stubborn. Everything, so especially tapping into Aquarian fixed sign energy, people can really get a little bit stubborn about certain things. And even though the energy is there to progress and evolve and upgrade yourself and change your thinking and like release negativity, it can easily turn into like a very like, oh, I don't want to though. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do this and that. Like it can get excusatory. Like, you can make excuses a little bit too easy. And so the sun fighting Mars like this, I feel like there's definitely people out there that are having a little bit of a hard time getting some stuff done, especially if they haven't been working with the square itself. Because the square, while yes, the planets are fighting, they're not getting along, and the energy is there and it creates friction for change, there are people who are going to be fighting the fight itself. They're going to be fighting the progression, fighting the movement, fighting the change. Like, they're just not really trying to partake, or not really trying to be different or create any type of change. It just is a frustrating kind of energy. So it's definitely a needed time to reevaluate what it is that you need, what is your goal, what is going on, what is your purpose. And with Mars being in Taurus, is all about what brings you pleasure. And if you are not doing what you love, if you're not working towards what you love, if you're not working towards what makes you happy, if you're just not doing that work right now, it's definitely a really frustrating sign. Because why aren't you doing the work? Because why aren't you setting yourself up for success? Because why aren't you trying to be your best self? Like, why? What is the excuse? What is the reason? What is the problem? What is the problem? So it's all about that passion, that pleasure, connection, that needing for what it is your moves are, how your moves look like, for it to be meaningful, for it to bring you joy, for it to bring you life, for it to be valuable, for it to really like connect with your soul and say, oh my god, this is who I am, this is why I love, this is why I do what I love and love what I do, you know? Like there's just this need to tap into that. And I feel like the planets right now, because literally Mars is in a it's just Mars is squaring like almost everything like at this point. So there's just this need to tap into more of that pleasure energy, for it to be enjoyable, for to make even the upgrade and the changes and the healing that you're doing, for it to have an enjoyable outcome, for you to remind yourself like, wow, this is why I did that, this is why I needed that, this is what that reading was hard, but I needed those messages. This is like, it's just about allowing yourself to bring that joy back, that pleasure back, and then allow you to upgrade here in your head through your crown. Okay, it's your mind at the end of the day. It's your connection to yourself, your connection to your higher self, what you're meant to be doing, what your purpose is, what your powers are, how you're using your abilities, how you're upgrading yourself, how you are changing and evolving and becoming a better, more closely like your higher self, and ultimately tapping into a lot of what's going on with spirit as well, because I feel like especially during Aquarius season, it really highlights the other realms and what's going on a spiritual level. And this is definitely that day, especially today, because you know the moon is a Capricorn, to check in on our ancestors and see how they're doing. Check in on what they want us to know, what they need us to focus on, what they are trying to communicate to us, or even if they're trying to have an opinion on our path, on what we're doing, on what we're intaking, how we're taking care of ourselves. Really, really focusing on that specific part, like saying, hey, you know, this is what I need right now. This is what I think my spirit needs. This is what my ancestors, they're pushing me in this direction. They're saying, you know what, they're telling me this. They're also telling me this. They're telling me I need to cut back on this. And how does that relate to that passion, to that value, to that pleasure energy? Because at the end of the day, your ancestors don't want you to have a bad time. They don't want you to be miserable. They don't want you to not be successful. They don't want negativity for you. So what are the downloads that they're giving you, and what is that being connected to? Okay, so this is a really important time to do that work, because I feel like it needs to be reevaluated, how our passion, how our values are creating and closing doors for us, especially doors that we no longer need to enter, but then doors that we actually need to walk through. So what is happening? How are we feeling internally? What is our compass, our internal compass? How is that communicating to us? What messages, what downloads are we getting, not only from our ancestors and our spirit guides, but from our own body? Okay, from our own body. If you could sit down with yourself for 1 second and just take a deep breath and just ask your body, what do I need to focus on right now? What from my body, where do I need to focus on right now? Where do I need to put my energy? What do I need to do? What is causing me any type of pain? Like what do you need me to focus on within my body right now? Is there any healing that I need right now in my body? Just sitting down with yourself, having that physical conversation with your body, and waiting for your body to respond in whatever way your body wants to respond, whether it be literally communicating through your head, or your body showing you and making you feel the areas of your body that are uncomfortable, that are in pain. Then you analyzing your body, seeing what chakras are associated to those pains, and then you going in and doing that deeper healing that needs to happen within those chakras. And I do feel like it's all about trying to bring that pleasure back. This month is a little bit of a crazy month, because it's causing a lot of chaos in many ways, especially, and I know we said we were going to talk about love for a hot minute, because that's just the season that it is for February. But it can easily be reevaluated as to what the blockages are, especially if you're having chest pains a lot, or if you're having trouble breathing or anything like that. Just reevaluating which chakra is connected to that body part, and then saying, okay, I need to give some time and space to this part of my body. I need to hold space for myself in this way. I need to make sure that I am allowing myself to grow and heal and connect back to my pleasure, connect back to what I love to do, how happy, what my joy is, what my happiness is. Where does that come from? Where does that stem from? And so right now there is an evolution that is happening, but there's also a lot of our core energy that's being completely transformed into something else, and just evolving. That evolutionary process is happening very much this year, but it's being very highlighted this month. And if you actually focus on what's going on internally, what's going on spiritually, physically, mentally for you, you'll be able to really pinpoint how the rest of the year is gonna go, especially if you are wanting to focus and do more of that work within yourself. So yeah, there's definitely, I feel like, especially the week ahead, if you look at even the energy, the moon's gonna be in Aquarius, okay? There's gonna be, and I already did a reading for that, so you guys can check it out on the channel, because the breakdown's gonna be there. Then the moon's gonna move into Pisces, and then we're going to have this very much subconscious focus for that specific part of the week. We're just gonna be definitely getting some downloads in our dreams, and I do recommend for the next week or so to just pay attention to your dreams very closely, because there's been a lot of downloads coming through with dream work right now, and I think that there's a lot of answers, a lot of fears, a lot of issues, a lot of blockages, a lot of other people showing up in people's dreams right now, and it's not for nothing. And you can also always ask spirit, always ask your ancestors, always ask your spirit guide, like, hey, why am I dreaming about this person? I haven't thought about them for like 10 years. They haven't been present in my life. Why are they showing up all of a sudden? There's a lot of different things going on. Aquarius is a very social season, so there's gonna be times that other people are thinking about you or dreaming about you, and they're gonna try to show up in your dreams, and they will. But definitely analyze your dreams. I do feel like there's a lot of things going on within the subconscious mind as we get closer and closer into Pisces season, which is always in February. It's a very, very crazy time. So definitely try to just hold space for yourself in that way. Because we're gonna need to get all the downloads we're getting, all the dreams. I hope and I pray that you guys have a dream journal, because it's definitely very important to have. But this year, all of the downloads that we're getting, absolutely out of this world, like absolutely out of this world. Especially when we move into Pisces season, the third eye is just gonna be a huge focus. For that specific, like that season, it's just going to be a huge focus. So we're going to be doing a lot of third eye work actually when we move into that season, but I would say get ready for it now. Start doing the work, start paying attention, start jotting down the messages, start pulling cards on different things that you're seeing, like how different people that are coming into your consciousness, all of these kind of things. Just keep that into your mind, because again, like I said earlier, within Aquarius season, we're always pouring our words, our intentions, our feelings, our vibes, our energy into that social consciousness energy. So when we have like this kind of internalized focus and highlight on society, you'll notice how other people would just start creeping into your energy space, into like your bubble. And it can be a little bit like unnerving for some people oh, you got over that trauma or that person like a long time ago, you forgive them, you did all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're creeping back in. Like, what's going on with that? What is the download? What is the purpose? We're gonna have to dive in a lot deeper for the next upcoming week, so I hope that you guys are definitely ready for that. So let me grab the cards so we can do the forecast for this week, because my phone is also dying. So I don't know if, hopefully I will be able to finish the live like in time and all that good stuff. But I don't want it to die, so we're gonna do the forecast for the week and see what comes up. So, what is the collective energy for this week? What do we need to know for this week? What do we need to? Ooh. What do we need to be aware of for this week? Okay. Oh wow. What do we need to be aware of for this week? There's a lot of people. You see what I mean about people? Y'all. Okay, first of all, bottom of the deck is the Empress, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Nine of Wands. Okay? And we just talked about Taurus energy and pleasure. Okay? We just talked about that happiness factor. Now, if you look at the cards for this week, we have the Page of Swords, the Strength card in reverse, the King of Pentacles. Yeah, the King of Pentacles. And then we have the Death card and the Knight of Cups. There's a lot of people suddenly coming up in this reading. Okay, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people all of a sudden coming up in this reading. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of communication coming down. There's a lot of things happening. With Mercury in retrograde, it's just, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of different layers to what is being communicated, why it needs to be communicated. There's a lot of places, there's some points of where points in that time and those connections and those people that are coming back where there was a lack in strength, lack in power. There was an imbalance in many ways, and this definitely 100% connects to the solar plexus. So there were times where whether your energy was misused, you were overpowered, or they were overpowered, or the energy was misused. And this is why the energy of Mercury retrograde, sometimes it comes out as a force where it's kind of like, okay, you know what, I didn't get to say what I needed to say before when this happened, so I'm gonna say it now. It's almost like you regain your strength and you then communicate what needs to be communicated. There's that energy this particular week. And I do feel like if you are actively this week communicating, you're gonna get some messages, you're gonna get some downloads, you're gonna get some things that are said and communicated, because people feel a lot more bolder. They feel like they're more grounded. They feel like a little bit more like themselves. They feel like they're in a different place now where they can actually say what they meant, where they can actually like communicate how it is that they actually felt. And I do feel like if you feel like you need to do this week, by all means, get that done. One of the things that I always say about Mercury retrograde, and you guys know that I say this every time Mercury retrograde is here, is that Mercury retrograde is a healing experience. I know a lot of people shit on it. I know a lot of people say a lot of things. I know a lot of, the exes come back and all that kind of stuff. But you have to understand that the point of Mercury retrograde, Mercury, which rules consciousness, is for that which has been in the back running, like things that have accumulated within the past for your consciousness that happened, whether it be for you or somebody else, that they now do have that moment of contemplation and say, hey, I needed to tell you this. I couldn't tell you this before, but now I actually get to tell you how I really felt. Or you know what, when you asked me this before, I was a little scared to tell you the truth, or I was just like, however that conversation is, it's still important to be able to hold space for the past on a conscious way. Not just be like, oh my God, why are you texting me? Like, I don't understand. No. Because that person can need that healing experience of telling you what they actually meant to say, just as much as you might need to communicate that as well. Mercury retrograde, yeah, like it can be irritating when somebody just pops up. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you see it for what it is, which is communication now, that was held in the past, being consciously progressed forward, and and see it as a healing experience that it is, because then somebody gets to lift that weight off their shoulders, that regret, that those emotions, that blockage of that of their strength, that blockage of their power, where they couldn't, their solar plexus was actively not being used to communicate what it truly was that they needed to say. Now you can say, well, you know what, I couldn't say it then, but I want to say it now. This is one of those, if you don't get it out now, you're going to regret not doing it later. This is what the retrograde is for. Okay, so this is a time to actively revisit this week. If there are conversations, if there's a person that you need to, you're in a different place now. Yes, you're a lot stronger, you're a little bit more grounded, you're feeling a lot different about the situation at hand, but it still haunts you to an extent, okay? And it needs to be transformed. There's healing that needs to be had. There's an emotional clarity that needs to be stated. And this is why there's so many kind of people and energies coming up in the reading for this week, because at the end of the day, we need to communicate so we can release the traumas of the past and progress into the blessings of the future, for us to actually move forward into, again, using that Taurus energy. Okay, using that Taurus energy in a productive way, that Mars and Taurus, so then we're actively working on the things that we love to do, doing the things that bring us life, that bring us joy, all of those type of things. But there's definitely the energy of unfinished business is what I'm going to call it. It's a lot of unfinished business energy at play for this week. So I hope that you guys are ready to heal that, because it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And honestly, if you're at that place where you heard me talk this whole time and you already knew who the person that came into your head about this, y'all need to have a conversation. You need to talk. Y'all gotta talk it out. You need to say what you need to say. Don't expect anything from them. Don't expect anything from them. Just, it's all about holding space. Holding space for you to say what you need to say. Whatever comes from that, like, don't go into it thinking like, oh, we're gonna talk and then boom, something's gonna happen. Don't go into it that way, because we're still in a retrograde. It's about the past. It's about resolving past issues. But don't go setting yourself up for, oh my God, if I say this whole speech, they're gonna just say what you need to say. Okay? It's about communication. That's Mercury. Say what you need to say. That's it. Say what you need to say. As much as I don't like John Mayer, that was the only song he brought into life. Baby's like, that's exactly what I was just thinking about. Listen, as I never liked John Mayer, I really didn't. There's a couple songs that I guess are bops or whatever, but the say what you need to say one, that was the one that I was always like, he right though. This is exactly what people need to be doing right now. Yeah, I can tell my Gemini moon has really connected with that one. Okay, so collectively, what do we need to know for this week? What do we need to be aware of? What do we need to be aware of this week? What do we need to be aware of? Okay, y'all. Okay, so the first one that came out was open your arms to receiving. Okay. And then it says, your prayers, you've prayed for help, now be open to accepting it. All right. The next one is open your heart. It's a lot of opening happening. Y'all notice this? Everything is like, wow, like open up. Yeah, open your heart. Your potential for greater love rests in opening your heart. Blockages and wounds from the past will be healed, and you'll be met with a true passion that you seek. Open. What does it mean to be open to something? Well, in a retrograde, right, when you're open to having a conversation with your ex, or open to have a conversation with your friend from like, or someone who bullied you from high school who's now hitting you up trying to apologize, when you're open, it's about holding space again. So there is this need to like really opening yourself up to the idea to hold space for this conversation, this communication, this interaction to be had, so that healing can occur. And this is exactly one of those things that happens when you had literally been out here saying or praying to Spirit and saying, hey, you know, please help me heal this, please help me heal this. And then boom, when Spirit's like, okay, here's a download, go heal it now. Are you going to be open to doing it? Like, what's up? I thought you said you was open to healing this. Like, what? Like, what's up? It's all about showing up. It's all about allowing yourself to hold space. It's all about saying, hey, you know what? This is what I need. I am open to this. I am open to having a conversation. I think this is the right thing for me to do. I need to get this out of the back of my head. Like, open yourself up. And this whole opening yourself up to receiving is not always just about, you know, blessings and stuff like that, because even though it very much is a blessing to be able to heal trauma, it doesn't always feel good to address it, to put yourself out there, to, you know, be a little bit more vulnerable and stuff like that. That can be really, really frustrating, but 100% you still need to open up and say, you know what, I am going to try this. If it doesn't work out, you know, I'll give it to God. I'll just give it to Spirit. Like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Please guide me. Please protect me. Please help me, you know, go through this in the best way that I can. And if it doesn't work out in a positive way, or if I get shut down or whatever, I said what I said, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there, and that's it. Communicate. It's all about that communication. It's all about you also setting the tone for the healing that you want, setting the tone for what you need to receive. It's literally 100%. If you're going to put yourself in a vulnerable situation, you might as well pick the location, pick the terms of service, okay? Pick what it is that you need and what you want to receive from it. So set yourself up for success. Tell Spirit, like, hey, if I'm gonna have a conversation with this person, if I'm open to it, but please, can we be respectful? Can you help me do the best for myself? Can you help me do the best for the situation at hand? Can you help me go through the experience in a positive way? Help me detach, or help me let go, or help me, whatever it is that you need to do. Yeah, my phone is about to die, so this is gonna be the last shuffle I do, but I'm sorry, guys. But just ask for that assistance, ask for that help. Spirit is literally gonna be there to help you. Okay, what do we need to know for this week for the collective? Oh, y'all. Oh, y'all. Okay, we gotta do this quick, but I'm gonna do it. So the first one that came out is forgiveness. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so this message is gonna be quick, but when you're going through a Mercury retrograde situation and you're having to open yourself up to hold space to, you know, converse, you do have to also keep this in mind. And this is the one of the things that Spirit wants you to be aware of, the forgiveness part. Okay, the forgiveness part, because if you're gonna have that, like, whole space to someone and then, you know, go off or pop off and do all this stuff, like, okay, cool, but what do you get out of it? How is this gonna benefit the whole enchilada? Like, what are you bringing? What's the sauce that you're bringing to this meal? And at the end of the day, you're going to have to come to terms and let some things go, or they're going to have to come to terms and let some things go. And that should be in the forefront of your mind, not like in the back, or, oh, I just want you to feel bad, or this is how it felt when you did this to me. Like, no. That's not going to change anything. What's going to change something is you allowing the energy of healing to come in, and that it's going to happen through forgiveness. And it says, I am willing to release old resentments so that I may enjoy my life. Yo, I'm going to say that again for y'all in the back. I am willing to release old resentments so that I may enjoy my life. That's literally what I was talking about with Mars. You want to enjoy your life? Let go. The next one is devotion. Y'all, devotion. And it says, as I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God, I am clear about what to do next. And this is really, really the point. Once you settled, like, your past is settled, your past is not, you know, the dust settles in the back, you're moving forward, you're taking steps forward, okay, then you can start focusing on other things that you love to do, what your life's purpose is, what your business, your job, so many different things. If you have that sense of direction, if you have that sense of, you know, I'm trying to move forward though. I'm trying to still live my life. I'm trying to still be happy. How do I do that? You connect back to your purpose. You connect back to what you need to do. You connect back to the growth that you still need to have. Like, there's more to this life and more to your life than what you're limiting yourself by holding on to emotions that keep you in a box, okay? At the end of the day, you still got to progress. You still have to let go. You still have to move forward. And that is the weekly healing circle for this week. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I am sorry that it was a little short, and I'm also sorry that I was late, guys. I was doing so many readings today. Side note, if you would like a reading with me, I'm almost fully booked for February. And then there's something that I'm doing in March, so I might end up being booked midway through March. So if you do want a reading with me, make sure you check out the website, which will be down below once I update the description box. But you can always check it out at TigeraGitana.com. If you would like, also the tickets for the workshop are almost sold out. Please make sure that you secure your spot if you would like to join us for the workshop, which is going to be a lot of fun. It is in the community tab. If you're on Instagram, it is on the link in my bio. That's pretty much it. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you loves in the next video. Bye, guys.